All right, good morning, everybody. Winternight Stories, day 3, day 4. Hard to keep track, but I think this is a pretty obvious home for the card, and this is an archetype that people have also been wanting me to update for a while, so it's nice that I got a pretty big upgrade in Winternight Stories. Don't have to play as many deep analyses. The life loss from this card always really stacked up. I guess I should give a little bit of history. When Faithless Looting got unbanned, we trophied with this Jeskai Faithless Looting control deck. Looting's really nice when you have a lot of stuff to discard for value, and you can like discard the Phlages and at the time the deep analyses, and you could like flip Tamiyo really fast with Faithless Looting, and you could be kind of like an aggro Phlage deck in your control shell. We used to play the energy package, Tune, Discharge, Wrath Disguise in this shell, and then I started to pivot a little bit into a more aggressive build last night. So I was working on a version that was playing Imri, Mox Opal, Mishra's Bauble, Steel Cutter, and Unstable Amulet. In addition to the energy cards could fuel the amulet, and then I was also trying to fit Winternight Stories and Phlage in there. And so not only was that deck like 70 cards with it being very difficult to make cuts, it was also really clear that that deck needed to play Narset, and I think we've kind of solved Narset. I think Narset is, in my mind right now, just the Jeskai Ascendancy deck, which I want to play some more of in a challenge soon. So I decided to move away from that, and if that shell sounds interesting, then you might like our backup deck. So I wanted to move away from that, and I really wanted to play Dragon Rage's Channeler, where Channeler not only like allows you to like surveil value into the yard really often, like we have 13 cards that when they're surveilled into the yard give you some value. But Channeler is also just really good to flashback Winternight Stories, just being able to, it costs you 2 mana instead of 1. But you're really often able to play like a Summoning Sick Channeler and then flashback Winternight Stories for 3 mana. I'll say in testing yesterday, playing Winternight Stories on turn 3, discarding a Phlage was really, really strong. Just being able to go turn 3, you're effectively drawing 3 cards, and then you have this in the yard, you have this available for flashback. It's a lot of value. It's a lot of value really quickly. I was also still liking the Kiora. Again, you have a lot of stuff to loot away for value, but also Kiora is a solid one to flashback Winternight Stories. You can go like turn 5, Kiora, discard, flashback, or you can go Kiora, attack, flashback. You can even sometimes do that on turn 4. You go Kiora, haste with Arena of Glory, discard Winternight Stories, make an 8/8 token, flashback the story. So definitely feel like this is a card I wanted some copies of. Well, let's keep this. Yeah, like I wonder if Uro would be banned if you could just like respond and exile it, because like this was a problem with Uro, was like it was a card that was almost impossible to blow out. And that wouldn't be true if you could make them waste all that mana. Okay, up against an Eldrazi variant here. We're going to get Sacred Foundry and then lead on a Channeler, and probably go for a turn 2 Tamiyo flip again. Kind of seems like they have a K command, and they decided to play it on my turn and not theirs. Not a lot I can do about that. Value Town. So kind of interesting between wanting to discard the Winternight Stories and hold it for force. I think I'm just going to discard both of these so I can get Delirium, so that way if they exile my Tamiyo, we are still attacking for 3. And next turn we could go DRC plus flashback Winternight Stories, maybe? Well, I'm not someone that likes to let my opponent untap with Glaring Fleshrakers. So despite not being the most mana efficient answer to this card, let's go ahead and pop it off. Graveyard some more value here. Spike, can you make Death Shadow work? Corey adds a new angle to the deck. You can go wide, having all your shadows potential threats in the mid to late game, thanks to Trample and Haste. I don't know why you're not trying to build that. Solitude is no excuse. Black-white is not even in this meta anymore. Yeah, maybe. The problem is, again, and I've said this a few times today, is Death Shadow kind of sucks. The card's not very good. Unfortunately, there's just many better threats in the format than Death Shadow, including Corey's Steelcutter. But maybe one day. You know, I'm not someone that really believes in making things work. I'm someone that believes in solving existing things in the format, you know. I don't make the cards, I just build around them. Okay, I think I want to keep this and try to set up for the hasty Phlage escape. Might get to snare a Rumble here. Or I guess we might snare like a Brood Scale. Since I'm assuming that's what we're playing against. Okay. Rumble indeed. So, I mean, maybe I would just want to like actually dig for a Phlage itself, since that is indeed lethal here. This island is tripping us up here. If we didn't have island, maybe we just win next turn. So now, is it... I'm not going to make lethal this turn. I'm not going to make lethal. So I think I just want to dig for an Unholy Heat or a snare. We get several more looks still. Okay. I have no 2-mana cards I could draw into here, so I don't see much reason to not dig some more. Although maybe casting the looting. I don't know. Urkel with the 46 months. Hope you're doing well. Appreciate you. Like, just the card that, like, I do agree that putting a Steelcutter on a Death Shadow could look pretty good. It could look pretty good. The thing is, Steelcutter just kills your opponent on like turn 3 and turn 4 pretty often without much help. It's not like you really are hurting so bad. Right now they don't have the mana to adapt the Brood Scale. How's the Dragonstorm looking? I like the Dragonstorm deck. My experience so far playing the Storm Scale Scion list is having many turns where like Scion is like meaningfully better than the normal stuff Storm is doing, and then my chat telling me that there's no reason to play Scion in the deck. And I don't know that it's optimal, but I do know that there's okay, nice. That was nice. I do know that it feels like there's a lot of good reasons to do it. And I would at the very least have one as a wish target if I was playing Storm, but I think I'd still be playtesting it if I was like a Storm main. Just thinking if I want any wildfires. Doesn't Death Shadow tend to be more interactive? Steelcutter is less good at killing your opponent than a normal Death Shadow shell. Well, the thing is, like, the interactive Death Shadow builds, those kind of suck for sure. Because they're just the worse than Oculus. So, like, if you're going to... Or they're worse than, like, the Frog Murktide decks. So if you're going to be building a Death Shadow deck, it kind of has to be aggro, because you can't really build a good interactive version of it, I think. At least now that Luris is banned, that's the case. Or... Since Luris has been banned. Do you still think Kistler Skimmer has potential to break out into a strong archetype? Yeah, I do think so. We've played 3 leagues with it. We've 3-2'd every league. Skimmer has looked good, I think, every time. I need to tune the... I do need to tune the Green Sun build more. We've played 2 Shardless Agent builds. I do think the Green Sun build looked better, so... there's a part of me that maybe wanted Sultai... Shardless Bug to be a viable archetype, but I did like the Green Sun build more, and I want to circle back to that one. That's why I need to solve this. Yeah, I mean, we could play Death Shadow Corey, but if I play Rakdos Corey, I don't know that I'm going to end up playing the card Death Shadow in the deck. I haven't been able to play Magic for more than a month. Any insight why we're not seeing a ton of blue Belcher? I'm not seeing as much in Challenge, etc. I mean, it's there. It's been doing somewhat well in tournaments recently. Yeah, I think we just let this go, and it's pretty easy to interact with the Brood Scale. I'd be able to consign like the Flesh Raker too. Okay, I'm going to consign this. Lantern's a kind of a pain. Even more than kind of a pain. So Winternight Stories discarding Phlage is definitely a nice thing to do. Although I don't know if we're going to do that next turn. Yeah, I mean, the arena with the Phlage is nice, but I think I just would like kind of love to draw something else to do next turn so I don't have to tap out. No love for Shadow plus Dress Down. I think it'd be great. Okay, well, someone... We kind of built the initial Shadow Dress Down list on this stream, you know, it's like that whole archetype really originated here on this channel. I have a lot of love for that archetype, but a big part of that ever being viable, just like that, like I don't know if that would have ever been viable at all without the existence of Luris. I just think it's kind of time to move on. I don't know. I don't think I can really afford to tap out for a Tamiyo because I need to be able to consign a K command if they have K command instead of Saga. Humble brag. Well, I gotta teach these kids their history. You know what I mean? Like 3 years ago, if you'd been like, Spike, do you have any love for Shadow Luris? It would have been it would have been crazy to say that. I'm gonna heat a construct here. Oh my gosh. Sorry, I thought I clicked Sacred Foundry. Oops. See if they have a second lantern. Tamiyo 100% last turn. Okay. What if my opponent goes K command, untap, play the Glaring Flesh Raker we know is in their hand? What if they play Flesh Raker and Brood Scale the next turn? Wait, we know they have a Flesh Raker in their hand. Both of these eventualities seemed pretty likely to me. And they were my reasons for holding up the Consign and the Heat. In fact, I meant to heat this and still hold up Consign this turn, but I did misclick. Although now that I've drawn third Tamiyo, maybe you're onto something. I guess I wait on the Heat. Oh my gosh. Because I played the land, I can't. You still hold up Consign or Heat? Well, I'm telling you that there's a really good chance I would rather cast both. Well, I'm telling you, I think you're incorrect. I do get that, but we didn't need to have this extra layer, right? Like, you suggest your line, I tell you why I do my line, and you don't, we don't need to keep going, right? Here, I think I'm gonna let this go so I can maybe counter a Brood Scale and then escape Phlage on the Flesh Raker. Also might draw land and escape Phlage. Keep the Consign up for next turn. You don't know Pylon, it's okay. It's not that serious. It's relaxed sickening. It's chill. It's not that serious. I think it's good. It's always, again, just cards, but it's good to establish some expectations for how we want the discourse to go. Alright, it should be okay to attack with this Tamiyo. You added the layer, now I'm adding a layer. Alright, be quiet. Well, okay, so let me see if okay, you said I explained why I didn't play Tamiyo. Then you said Tamiyo 100% last turn. Then I said why. I took my line again, clarifying, and then you said holding up Consigner Heat. So that's the extra layer that I think was unnecessary. Just for, like, does that make sense? Like, it's okay for you to disagree on the line, but it felt unnecessary to relitigate it again, I did add another layer on top of that, but that layer was saying we didn't need to go this far. Again, it's just Magic cards. I'm not upset. I'm just trying to say we didn't need to go this far. Yeah, I think it was your comment where it's like, well, I'm telling you, I think you're incorrect. Yeah, this part was that's clear with your other comments. That part was just not necessary. Just for future reference, again, no big deal. Kind of feels like we got Veil of Summer. Oh, it's pretty good. So this could be a 5/5, which of course doesn't get through the Phlage. All right, I don't need another clue, probably. Could leave the hand and land in the hand for looting, but I think we just have too much to do with our mana. Thank you, Roger. I appreciate you being chill. I'm glad we can have these kind of conversations here. I think it's really nice. Oh! Fuck. Dude, they tap 4 lands for the Cymrical? Okay, yeah, I don't have an out to the Emrakul. Going to game 3. That's pretty good. I don't know, yeah. I don't know how I could have maneuvered around it. I think I just keep going. Hot take: Merfolk, Trickster, and Wizards. Someone else suggested that the other day. For me, like the Wizard shell is kind of pivoted into like being a more aggressive Steel Cutter build. So I don't know if like how Tideshaper plays into that, but I also don't know if I would main deck it. Arena of Glory is not if they kill your Phlage. Well, it's like, I guess maybe it is. Yeah, maybe it was a little bit of an early concession. It seemed kind of like a nearly impossible game to win still. But maybe we had some percentage points. Yeah, I went from definitely went from feeling like I couldn't lose to, oh no, I am dead. Yeah, I think I keep the land. It's a little bit close. In a Wizard Steel Cutter build, is Snapcaster included? Not when we've been playing it. Like I know we all love Snapcaster here, but it doesn't play very well with Corey's Steel Cutter. Okay, it's a great draw. Delirium. I guess just killing our opponents also an answer to Emrakul. Although they may have K command. Fleshraker, any zeros? They have 1/0. Seems like we might have to let them untap with the Fleshraker. Oh. Not today. Let's get Hallowed Fountain here. Obviously, I love to discard Phlage to Winternight Stories, but my opponent went turn 2 Fleshraker. Gotta kill that thing. Is there consideration of spreading Seas over Wildfire in the sideboard? I mean, you could consider, but the thing is, Belcher, Titan, and Eldrazi are popular right now. Wildfire is really good against all of those decks. Wildfire is really, I've been liking it like more against Titan than I even expected it to, especially like with Tamiyo to like rebuy it. So yeah, I think especially with all the Belcher decks, there's 2 different Belcher decks popular at the moment. It hasn't been like as much on stream as off stream, but off stream I've been playing against the red Belcher deck so much. So they K command to exile a Channeler and a Phlage. I am okay with that. Let me tell you a story. There once was a cute titan named Phlage, Titan of Fire's Fury. Can haste the Channeler next turn too, maybe. Think energy should be on Wildfire over Molten Rain. It kind of depends on like how you feel like the rest, how your Belcher map is, but like 2 mana versus 3 mana is a really big deal. It's far superior against Belcher, but pretty even with the others, I think. Yeah, I would agree. Although if you're playing Tamiyo, like picking up Wildfire is like, that is a pretty big deal. Okay, so the XL Phlage again, the XL my Channeler again. This card is still very good, although they've been missing land drops, which is pretty nice. So now let's not haste the Channeler, so I can go Channeler plus Winternight Stories. I guess I'll go Deep Analysis, then Winternight Stories, and just refill my hand. Let's keep an Ending. Ending seems okay. Oh no! I don't have Delirium. I guess there was no way for me to have Delirium, but I can't flashback the story. Sorry about that. Because my Phlage got exiled. What's my opinion on Red Belcher compared to Storm and Belcher? I like it. I think it looks really good and powerful. It's weaker to like land hate in a way that regular Storm isn't, which I don't love for the archetype, but I don't know. I think overall it's a deck I've liked. I think it's looked good. So white, red, blue. No. So still not Delirious. Still not Delirious. Guess we'll see if we draw Bauble. Might as well main phase this, even though it's telegraphed that we're shields down. Five cards in their hand. Have another Flesh Striker? Maybe another K command? Mycospawn. Don't know if they have Bajuka Bog, or if they would even want to get it here. They just get a Saga. So right now, an Emrakul costs 9 mana, so they're a little ways away from that. Although once this goes to the yard, it's going to cost 7. Okay, so they must have just drawn this. They would have played it last turn with the Flesh Raker. Not that that really gives us much info. How many Phlages have we lost? We've lost 2 Phlage. 3 looks at the 4th for lethal. Nice. Winternight Stories discard Phlage has felt so good. I'm interested in seeing if there's any other shells you want to do this in. Get a mulligan or 7. Yeah, iteration too. I don't like the 7 very much, but I think I'm going to have to keep. Or so the 6 very much, but I have to keep because it's a 6. Right, we have one good thing to discard for value. I'm going to go ahead and keep that. What about Winternight and the Phlage, Null Drifter, Consign deck? I mean, admittedly, I'm not a huge fan of that archetype, so it's kind of up to you. With a 28, thank you, welcome back. So probably Prowess again here. We did lose the Prowess last time. They had a pretty good... Their draw lined up pretty well game 3 against ours. So discard 2 lands. 2 lands. I can still force a Steel Cutter and then just cast Winternight Stories next turn. Then maybe try to set up for a Phlaged Arena. Oh yeah, Monument to Endurance. Yeah, there's just like so many nice 3-mana card draw engines, and again, it's a dynamic I've really liked. Nice. This feels just one thing I really like about this build compared to other Winternight decks we've played so far. It's just casting it for 3 mana has been really good. Like this is basically plus 3 cards, plus Phlage is in the yard, plus Winternight is in the yard. It's like not so shabby. Thank you again for the 28. It was me. If the rest of their hand is mutagenic growths, we might die. So I think I maybe went too far down on Force of Negation. I'm gonna play one Kiora, 2 Force this time. I think the second Force in the draw is good enough. Could Stories be a good fit for Ketchumos Soul Flare decks? You don't really have any creatures to discard for value in that build, but something to look at probably. I think you just want to lean on Ketchumos there probably. Yeah, I was gonna kill the creatures there, unless somehow I was missing lethal by doing that, but I don't think so. My opponent kept 7. They're gonna need all those cards, I think, against this hand. Let's get a Elegant Parlor. I still don't have all the names of these Surveil lands memorized. You would think I would have figured that out by now. Why Ashiok? Yeah, Ashiok is just a sideboard card for Titan. It occasionally comes in elsewhere, but you don't need to be that confused. Like Titan is popular enough to like want to dedicate some sideboard cards for, I think. All right, so they plot a Slickshot Show Off, which admittedly I'm not doing very good against. Although that might help. Yeah, you can bring it in against Dumore Coffers. Oh, I don't hate it. I see. Yeah, I mean, I think Ashiok is the best sideboard card against Titan. Like, Tunnel Ingus has been some nice tech, but I think you really need to be playing a more aggressive build. Because I think it's pretty possible for you to just die to, like, 6/6 tramples. Which is a little bit weird, but that's my fear at the very least. I'm gonna cast the Phlage. I'm not scared of them having mutagenic growth and then untapping and killing me. If that happens, it happens. Yeah, my favorite thing in the world, Tunnelingus. It's a good card against Titan. I'm at 20 life, baby. Let's see what you got. All right, that's a good thing to got. That's a good thing to got. All right, so we have 1 Kiora and 4 Channelers to win with. This should be enough. Okay, my opponent messed up. They forgot to crack this Bauble. Otherwise, I'd be taking 16 instead of 8. I have Def 1 versus Ingus' Titan while Ashiok rocks my world. Yeah, I mean, but of course, like the difference between like 2 and 3 mana is a really big deal. Oh, they surgical my Prismatic Ending. They knew it was in my hand from the other one, of course. They only have 1 card left in their hand. We're taking 3 down to 9. Really enjoying the full 3 Surveil lands here, by the way. Alright, so they got 2 cards in their hand. Hopefully just no threats. Land. They're thinking about playing this untapped. Okay, maybe not. Might have been good to haste the Channeler. Although this Clue token does seem valuable. They have surgical basically all my white cards, so I'm just going to leave up Izzet lands here. So if I had drawn an untapped land, I could have flashed back the stories, but we didn't. That's okay. I can probably just flash that back next turn. Nice. Can't always replace cards, but and I'm not sure what I would replace it, but there's probably a different way you could go. Yeah, the DRCs as the extra win con definitely helps. Flip Jace is basically Tommy at home. So I think this is a very common trap you can fall into when you're thinking about budget options for cards. Like Jace Friend's Prodigy is definitely similar to Tamiyo, right? Where it's a planeswalker that transforms. But that's kind of where the similarities end. Like Jace Friend's Prodigy is just not a very modern playable card, but you could play Ragavan, extra Kioras, which are like pretty good in the deck. You could play more interactive cards. You could play something like Crackling Drake to go with Arena, although I don't think that would be great. But it's like you want to play like higher. You just want to play a higher power level card rather than a similar card, if that makes sense. I've been liking Kiora. I think you want at least one. The second copy has been feeling good. I don't think I'd play more than two unless I was trying to build a more budget friendly version. I'm playing kind of slow. Any interest in more standard brews? I was kind of interested in porting our Teamer Battle Crier deck to standard. I heard that Doomwake had played a similar list. Yeah, no Wrath the Skies in this version. It's kind of the best draw. Is this me, or is this just the new blue-red Murktide with Phlage? You definitely could describe this deck in that way. It plays kind of differently. Like this deck is very graveyard focused. It's kind of weird for sure. It's not a good deck, but Battle Crier can cast a turn 2 Ugin in stand, which is fun. It does sound pretty fun. It does seem like way more fragile in standard. You have like less redundancy, less acceleration. Obviously, this dynamic is kind of out of opponent's control, but these kind of games where you're just like playing normal Magic and you have a lot to do, it's not as frustrating that they're playing this slow. But the games where you're like just dying to like top deck to see if like the game is over or not, and your opponents are playing at this pace, those are the most miserable games you can stream. I need to figure out like what to do in the meantime. I need to figure out a solution to really slow players. I know Jim sometimes plays the guitar. But I don't have any classical entertainment skills like that. I mean, we've talked a little bit about Obosh, but I think you just kind of have to play Bauble. I think you just have to play Bauble. Also, like, we have a lot of 2 mana value sideboard cards. Yeah, just no-hit Dark Souls in the meantime. It's like... it's tricky. Alright, so this gives me... Delirium. Yeah, I guess that's what the deck techs are for. No, you can't throw a ball star dog in the house. That's how you destroy it. Just get the house destroyed. Yeah, we'll try to figure something out. One thing that I kind of wanted to do is I wanted to set up the Balatro infinite loop and just mindlessly go through it, but I don't actually think that that's that interesting. But there's an infinite loop in Balatro, if you don't know, that it would take like generations and generations to execute, like maybe more, like just like thousands of years to effectively pull off. All right, so they're just saying you can punt if you want, but because you have the Tamiyo +1, we could just let this go. Play some flooring. I decided yesterday that I'm just gonna hire somebody for the flooring. What is it? So if you have Perkeo and you get a negative copy of every tarot card. Okay, that's actually a really nice draw because this lets me block the Ragavan. Okay, so if you Perkeo, I have done this by the way, but if you Perkeo every single tarot card except for Emperor, the Fool, and whatever you want to copy, you can go Emperor. It'll give you whatever card you want to copy. So this is either Judgment to make infinite Jokers, Priestess to make infinite planet cards, which could trigger Constellation, or you could do something like Temperance to give infinite money, or Hermit to give infinite money. So you go Emperor, Fool, whatever you want to copy. Use the Fool, get another Emperor. Use whatever you want to copy. Emperor for those two again, and you can do that an infinite number of times. And so I did that on a Constellation run on mobile, and I was just like flicking through the combo for hours, but it just doesn't scale very well. It's like incredibly slow. Got to find a solid contractor though, and don't go through Home Depot. So yeah, what's wrong going through Home Depot? Because that is what I did. Is it just more expensive? Or, I mean, they're just coming out to get a quote, so I'm not married yet. They concede. All right. All right, so we're just going to bring in the Pyroclasms and the Snare and cut the Forces, I think. Although, it could be good to play 1 or 2 Force. Maybe you'll play 1 Force over Kiora number 2. Yeah. So yeah, Emperor tarot cards, planet packs, they only show things that aren't available in the shop somewhere else. What's 4 Wildfire for? Eldrazi, both builds of Belcher, sometimes Urza Saga decks, and Titan. So they come in pretty often. Yeah, I do like that this build with no Wrath of Skies doesn't need the second basic planes, and you get to play extra fetch land. No, not Home Depot. Rip, we'll explain why not Home Depot. Like, what's the problem? Do you think the Grappler deck is good? I don't know. I'm falling out of love with Grappler, but I want to give it a little bit of time. How do you guarantee Perkeo hits every type of tarot card? It feels like it takes a long time. It takes a long time. Hey, you have to get very lucky, especially because there's like you have to. So the one thing you could do is you get to copy Perkeo multiple times with like blueprints and brainstorms. And so like this gives you a lot more chances at hitting the one you want, but yeah, it just takes a fucking long time. I'm gonna loot on turn 1 since we got this Pyroclasm in our hand here. Discard 1, and then I think the second Channeler, it'll help with Delirium a lot. Could you play Harbinger over Ashiok? No. Could Demon Lich be a good friend of Winternight or Oculus? I guess I tried them already. We tried both. Like, Winternight is good in, I think, those decks, although we didn't do as well with the Reanimator deck on stream as off. And I think Phoenix is just poorly positioned. Although I'm trying to, like, figure it out. Shell with the 10 months, thank you, welcome back. Home Depot just farms out to people that meet minimum requirements. It's a gamble, mostly. Can be fine, can be bad, depending on who is signed. I mean, that makes sense. Okay, I have 4 Mishra's Baubles in my deck. And they're not online anymore. Did a spreadsheet and the local vinyl store plus using gold to find a contractor saved us $1,200 on job versus Depot for material labor. Okay, well, they quoted me pretty good on the phone, but we'll see if they try to screw me over. I'll try to go a different direction. I'm gonna go ahead and heat in response here. Not give them the 2 energy. Get my Surveil. Oh yeah, Tamiyo clues, that's right. Alright, it doesn't really seem like my opponent's going to play into this Pyroclasm, so I think I'm just going to fire one off here. My hand's just also like really removal stacked. Okay, so that'll be my... Oh. Never mind. Thanks, opponent. Yeah, a lot of people have been like, Spike, this Boros energy deck, it's got a big metagame percentage. Are you worried about it? Are you worried about it? And I'm like, I don't know. When they bring in that Stony Silence Ghost Vacuum, it's pretty scary sometimes, but you gotta fight through it. Sometimes you just gotta fight through it. Okay, let's see if I surveil Phlage. I think I'm just gonna flashback the looting. If they flip the Ajani, I've got Prismatic Ending. Did I say flip the Ajani? I flip the Tamiyo, obviously. Still paying actors, Mr. Streamer? Yeah, I've got like I got Volo's discount Magic Online actors. They're not very good. But, you know, they're all I can afford without like a 10 pack of subs right now. So they only have 2 energy in the pool. It's kind of tempting to not Prismatic Ending this. Actually, let's just let's play Arena and let's just flashback Winternight for the full 5. And then probably just Prismatic Ending the token. Maybe a hot take. Boros isn't the problem in the meta. The problem is that Eldrazi gatekeeps almost every fair deck from being top tier. Boros is the only one that can compete because it's an aggro deck disguised as a mid-range deck. I don't know. Is Boros the only fair deck that's competing? I view Prowess as a fair deck. I think the Frog decks are viable enough. I actually don't even feel like there is a problem in the meta. I think Modern is currently great. I think it's currently like about as good as it ever gets, and I'm having a lot of fun. I don't feel like there's a lot to complain about. It's not perfect. Modern never has been perfect, never will be perfect, but I do think it's about as good as it ever gets. All right, keeps the card on top. Good top deck. Yeah, I feel like the games like the last month have been so good, and they are continuing to be really good, even like a month out of Dragonstorm release. Which is a very good sign. I think I'm just going to heat this, despite their treasures not being active. Modern's definitely fun. I just hate seeing one deck be 20% of the meta. It gets boring to play the same deck over and over again. I agree. That being said, like it's like like the metagame is evolving. To me, I don't exactly like think that it's gonna stay this way forever. That Boros is gonna be this popular, but hard to say for sure, of course. Well, maybe I should have left a red floating in case I found Phlage, huh? Well, we could have had a awesome turn if I had taken another moment to think, maybe. But I guess we're still having an awesome turn, huh? I'm gonna kill the Ajani instead of the Spyro, I think. No, let's kill the Spyro so that my Kiora can make an 8/8 and survive. I think that makes more sense. Isn't that a condition in most rotations in most formats? Isn't that a condition? I guess I'm a little confused exactly what you're asking, but there have just been long periods where Modern does not change, it does not evolve, it does not the metagame does not rotate. Okay, let's get another trophy prediction. That like the entire MH3 era was like this, like maybe like 5 months, 6 months before MH3 was like this, and so like that's over a year or almost like 11 months of like stagnation, followed by these unbans, and followed by like the breach meta, breach banned. Now things are like really interesting, I think. I always want Magic to be as accessible to as many people as possible. Let's keep this. Let's just surveil on turn 1 though. I think we're graveyarding this for value. Peak Modern was when Lantern won a GP. You're telling me. You know, I missed my winning into top 8 at that GP, actually. I actually feel like I had a decent Lantern matchup. So maybe it's for the best that Andrew Solano had stupid Chameleon Colossus off Cavern of Souls, and I could never beat that. I was so ahead. I had Is It Staticaster in play. I had Mana Leak up, and he just goes Cavern, Chameleon Colossus, and it's just it was all over. And that was my first ever GP. Okay, Graveyard's an Ocelot Pride. Did you try Winternight Oculus Stimulich? Yes, did both of those. We did a reanimated version of Oculus that didn't do as well on stream as off, and then we had a Phoenix Stimulich deck. And I'm trying to rethink the Phoenix deck to maybe figure out playing Unholy Heat, and maybe Counterspell, maybe Snare, just a bit more interactive. I feel like Winternight Stories maybe lets you be more interactive. Am I going to RC Min? No, I don't play in RCQs so much. I'm getting married this year, so I decided to kind of intentionally take some time off the tournament grind, still do my normal deck building stream stuff, but not play as many tournaments this year. Sorry if you've answered this. Why do you prefer Kiora over the new red 3/3 haster? Well, you just like get something when you attack. You get the 8/8 when you arena it on turn 3. When you play this other card, it's like it's just kind of a 3/3. You know what I mean? So it's not that I dislike that card, but okay, there's their own Phlage. I Kiora is also maybe the card I know. So hopefully next year I've got more time to tournament grind, but I also have like a lot of projects and stuff that hopefully I have 2 projects hopefully that'll reach their conclusion sometime next year. Hoping my novel is done next year and hoping that our game is ready to be released next year. I just discard the channelers. A little bit scared of Arena of Glory. We'll see what happens here. That's definitely the card that gets them back into this. No Arena, so he should be pretty good. What's felt like a tough matchup? So we lost to Prowess once today. I did lose a match last night. I don't know if I can remember what it was. It might come to me, but I can't remember what matchup I lost last night. And this is of course a problem we have sometimes. Is sometimes when you're testing a deck for a first time, you just win all your matches, and when you're winning all your matches, it's very difficult to know what needs to change and what's going well and what's going poorly. It's a good problem to have, of course. Do you have any advice for those who are counterspell insecure? Well, if your deck is fast enough, you don't need counterspell. You'll be okay. And if your deck is interactive enough in other ways, you don't need it. which this deck, I think the combination of Snare and Force and Pending and the sideboard cards are enough for the linear decks right now. All right, so they Spyro discarding Gydo Souls and a Goblin Bombardment. Did they find another Static Prison? If they did, it's not really that big a deal. We just ending it and then escape Phlage again. Ooh, that's a great top deck. So we can go Channeler, Winternight Stories, keep a Snare, discard a Phlage, plus the Tamiyo. Dude, I love Winternight Stories. Could we be playing Spyro also? Is it better than Kiora maybe? Maybe. I like Kiora. Kiora is like, I think a little bit better with Winternight Stories, where it harmonizes a bit better, both it and the 8/8 it makes, but you could. How does this deck beat a 7/7 Murktide? Phlage can beat a Murktide. I think we can keep this. Should be fine. Story's a good card. Yeah, Story has been a good card. It's definitely good in the Hollow One shell. I like it in this shell. We had 2 different Hollow One builds we did well with. Didn't do as well in the Reanimator build, but Reanimator is always kind of one of these high variance decks anyways. I'm liking it a lot. Okay, so next turn we're probably going Heat plus Snare up. Yeah, I still want to do Winternight Ovalchase Daredevil. Oh, they hit the 3rd Snare. I want to do Winternight Ovalchase Daredevil. I also am interested in Kishless Skimmer. Kishless Skimmer in a cookbook deck, but I'm not sure if I'm gonna get to either of those anytime soon. Maybe we could do both at the same time. No thanks. Don't like playing against that card. Ashioks are for Titan, but sometimes you can bring them in against, like, there's like Scapeshift decks. We brought them in against Inumori Sorceries deck the other day, which isn't going to be a very big part of the metagame, of course. You can bring it in against Dredge, but like I don't think you want to bring it in against Hollow One. It's just like too slow against Hollow One. But yeah, some Graveyard decks you bring it in. Because they have 1 card left in their hand here. Hopefully it's a 2-drop. That's not Thraben Charm. So I think to play around the Graveyard Hate here, I'm just going to flashback the Deep Analysis. If I like play Phlage and they get to exile my Deep Analysis, my Phlage, and my other Phlage, it's kind of a nightmare that I'd like to not have to endure. Now, having the basic island here is definitely a little bit awkward. I mean, I think you have to play the basic island, but it does get you sometimes, I guess. I wonder why people play Ashiok instead of Shadow of Doubt. Seems like more opportunity to blow it out. I mean, one's like a permanent that you can tap out for, then facilitate your game plan, and one is like a 2-mana instant that might get you mana bling. Shadow of Doubt's more main deckable too. It's like not a great like Ashiok is like a nightmare card for Titan. It's like the only way they can beat it usually is Otawara or just like sometimes attacking with their 6/6. All right, so we're gonna heat the monkey again. Yeah, 2 mana versus 3 does matter. Phlage? Spyro, okay. Post-board, good to see you. I think with a 55. Oh yeah, Colossus can get there, but it's like they have to naturally draw the Colossus, but it's true. They didn't draw another 1-mana creature. And they go the 5-pack post. Good to see you. So hoping we can surveil a land to the top. Might as well graveyard that. Do Titanless play Colossus? I think they should. Like, that card is really ridiculous, and it wins in a lot of spots that, like, Titan wouldn't, but I don't know, maybe, it would seem like if you're in a spot where, like, you want to play around Graveyard Hate and Titan removal, you just get the Colossus and you can't lose. But they don't always play it. Hopefully they don't have a Surgical Extraction. They might just be reading Winternight Stories there, though. Sometimes Loomer instead of Colossus. Basically always 4 Analysts, 1 Titan, 1 Colossus, Loomer for the threats. Yeah, the Dryad isn't... I thought the Dryad was stock, actually. I thought usually it's Dryad. Maybe not. Okay, well, hopefully they have Thraben Charm. Or if they do have Thraben Charm, we've got the Snare. Surgical would be tough to beat, though. They don't have enough energy to Galvanic Discharge me either. Hey, with the 59 months, thank you. Welcome back also. Hope you're doing well. And thanks to everybody for being here today. On this dreary, rainy day. And Cost 34, thank you. Welcome back. Thinking about Prowess pre-MH2 and how good the standard version is right now compared to that era. Crazy MTG times, yeah. It's cool how it came back around. I'm really excited that like Prowess seems like it's just a tier 1 deck for now. Okay, so Snared Phlage, not that big a deal. I think I'm just going to go ahead and fire this off here. The main way we lose is my opponent surveilling Phlage into the yard and Arena of Glorying it here. It's also kind of fun here is if they Surgical my Phlage, like this one is protected from the Surgical. Also, I'm a believer in 3 Surveil lands in Boros, by the way. I would play 3. For whatever that's worth. Although not in my lower to the ground version of Boros that we may be playing later today. But in like the more standard build, I think 3 is correct. Do they think Spyro costs 4 to get back? It kind of seems like they... Or maybe they meant to play this untapped and then they didn't. Okay, we're 4-0. We already did our prediction. We're 6-1 on the day, and we're 8-2 overall. So Tamiyo is very, very, very good card. The sideboard is in a big way built with Tamiyo in mind, so that you can pick up consigns and wildfires. Yeah, definitely trying to take advantage of the low amounts of graveyard hate here. Okay, so if this is Belcher, the Belcher matchup isn't amazing game 1, although we do have a bunch of Force of Negations. But in the sideboard, we have 4 Cleansing Wildfire, 4 Consign, so I'm feeling kind of good about that dynamic. Big Vanille, thank you for the 3 months. Hope you're doing well. We might get turn 2'd. Okay, not getting turn 2'd. Okay, so we are going to get 4 looks at a Force of Negation. So if I keep this Bauble, I lose out. Keeping the Bauble should be right because it basically is 1 more look. So like I don't use the second Surveil, but then I get 2 new ones. So I think it should be right to keep because again it's just 1 more look. Yeah, it's just bottoming any non-Force of Negation card, and we haven't found it yet. Yeah, Red Belcher is picking up because of the Stormscale Scion. Like this is pretty good with Ironcrag Feed, and so is Belcher. Okay, that's good for us. Well, we're gonna have lethal next turn. It is not next turn yet, of course. Looking for that Force of Negation. 5 looks this time. 3 Force of Negations in the deck. 3 more looks. A little bit unlucky missing that many times. Just a little. Be kind of fun if they can play like this X equals 3 and try to see if we can beat that. Don't know if we can or not. Okay, probably dead. Make sure they remember they have Bitter Reunion in play. Not sure I understand the pivot to Red Belcher that much. Isn't it much more weak to Consign? It is weaker to Consign. It's also a much faster deck. Alright, we do have a lot of sideboard cards for this matchup. Be kind of sad to lose. They do have rubies. We have a lot of like counter spells that counter rubies, so I don't think I want the prismatic endings. I think I'd like to go down 1 Phlage, 1 Winternight. Maybe a looting since I'm going down on cards that are good to loot away. How aggressively are we mulliganing for sideboard cards? I don't know. I don't know how possible it is to have a hand that doesn't have a Consign, a Force, or a Wildfire, or a Snare. Since we just have so many sideboard cards, but I'm probably not keeping a hand that doesn't have one of those. Maybe I would keep like a Channeler triple Bauble hand or something. I guess I'll look at their top card. It's a Belcher. Let's keep a Force of Negation. Is Wildfire better than Spreading Seas? Let me show you something. Let me show you something. Glenn, to the 5 months. Thank you. Welcome back. Appreciate you. Yeah, you can also pick up Wildfire with Tamiyo, which is pretty nice. Now they might board it and mount it for game 3. Let me click. I guess I should have clicked submit faster. Yeah, they're re-sideboarding, so there's a good chance they're bringing in that mountain, which is okay. I'm still gonna keep it in the Wildfires. This is true. Mint in general against Eldrazi and stuff. Yeah, in general. It's closer, but I think in general Wildfire is better. Like against Titan, you end up like because you can like minus and pick up the Wildfire. You run at Titan out of basics kind of often. It's better against Titan too, where you kill the you end up killing the bounce lands. Where if you like Spreading Seas a bounce land, it's not too tough for your Belcher opponent to just like pick it up again. Okay, I think it's actually really important to be able to counter a Ruby Medallion here. How do I send you a list to check out, give thoughts on? So that's not a service we offer at any time, but usually I'll just kind of call for those if we have a lull point. So if you're willing to chill and wait for that to happen, that is the best method. Just wait for there to be a pause in the action is usually when I call for people to send decks. But we don't do paid deck decks anymore. Yeah, Wildfire. I mean, Spreading Seas can also help flip Tamiyo. I was playing Boros Energy with Boombust and Flagstones. I think Wildfire would be better. It's definitely more consistent. I'm definitely a big Boombust boy, though. So we're going to fetch a untap land here so that I can maybe not mess with my Surveil. My hand is pretty good. For 500, would you deck tech my stock amulet list? And you'll pay for my flooring upstairs, probably. Yeah, I think the stream has been a lot better since we don't do the paid deck techs anymore. Dude, if they have the 1-mana counter, I actually can't even deal with it. The guttural response? Okay, thankfully they don't have one. Another Blood Moon would be pretty bad here. Okay, surveil, deep analysis in the yard, surveil this. Okay, found another force, which is what I'm looking for to play around another moon. I feel like you could just do a paid deck tech stream and make tons of money. Maybe, but I don't know. I really enjoy the stream being structured this way. I think it's better overall, and you know, I think it's not about the money either. It's like about the quality of the stream just being as high as I can make it. That's something I do really care about. Okay, so I guess we let this resolve. Four mana, so they're one away from a Scion. So I think I have to force this. Arena of Glory could be lethal next turn. So they glimpse, which is just going to make 3 spawns for them. And then they play a Valakut Stoneforge, so I'm assuming their last card is a Scion. It could be a Belcher, though. Do I still have my Steam Vents in the deck? Looks like I do. Is this Belcher Storm? So like they have Storm Scale Scion, but they don't have Grape Shot. But you know they do have a Storm card in the deck, so I guess that's a Storm deck. Yeah, I agree. The Field of Ruin decks are probably pretty solid right now. Probably something to take a closer look at. All right, feeling pretty comfy, although the game is not over yet. I guess I'll get a basic plane since I'm out of Surveillance. My last one must be... Oh, they're all in play, actually. Is there anything I could find off the looting that I would even care about? I guess I'm just going to go... Yeah, we'll just go attack with these, and then we get to go 1-mana Winternight Stories off the 8/8. Can you ever feel comfy against this deck? If I don't know, but if you could ever feel comfy, like now would definitely be the time. With we'll keep this so we can at least have Consign Force up. Yeah. Yeah. If you can't feel comfy against Belcher here, you can't feel comfy against it ever. But if you ever could, now is the time for sure, Z's. All right, so we have gone 4-1 into 5-0 with the updated Jeskai Looting control deck. This deck was a nice breakout, like right when Looting got unbanned. Not one you can play when there's a ton of Graveyard Hate around. Although I did beat a Catchermos deck yesterday that was playing a ton of Graveyard Hate, so it's not like it's just completely lights out for you either. Ooh, pretty good pulls with an Archive. Oh, Arena of Glory, Phantom, Solitude. Terminus. There's one more, right? There's maybe this Elishnorn's still worth money. Pretty good packs. All right, and then shout out to the Believers. So I'm going to pay out that trophy. I think that's where we're going to call this deck, but I've got a pretty fun backup deck. So